Hello and welcome to GFW Radio. Again, this is number 2 of 3 today, and we have some very, very special guests with us, and we're all so happy to have them here. Right?
Of course.
Very.
Okay.
We're very,
well,
very happy
say
to
it
have
then.
them.
Fuck's sake. Don't leave me drowning out here.
Interrupt you. Sorry.
All right. And who are you guys?
You mean you don't know?
No, I've never seen you before. I don't know who you are. I'm kind of retarded.
I'm Kim Swift, and I was a level designer on Portal.
And I'm Erik, Wolpaw, and I was a writer on Portal.
First of all, congrats. We heard you won like some big award last night at GDC here.
We did the Innovation Award.
We won.
And also Game of the Year and the Innovation Award.
And Best Game Design.
Yes. Yeah.
Right on.
You sound unfazed.
I'm running on 3 hours of sleep right now, so I'm kind of tired.
Are you keeping count of all the awards?
No, not really. I mean,
that's for Doug Lombardi to do.
It's true.
I don't really get how a game that's so short could be Game of the Year. It doesn't seem
I know. It seems unfair.
We're kind of confused too.
Yeah. No.
It was our Game of the Year, in case you didn't know.
It was our game.
Oh, was it?
So I'm just bullshitting you.
Well, thank you.
You guys, I actually think that maybe that helps because everybody I know who's an adult, that's all I hang out with, mostly adults.
You don't hang out with little children?
Not anymore, not after last arrest.
Because legally not allowed to live with children. But the nobody finishes games anymore. Everybody I know, who isn't a kid, they don't have time to finish games, and if you play Portal, you can pretty much finish it. I think right there, that was just this huge gaping hole in game experience, was a game that people could actually play from beginning to end and not have to take 20 hours to do it.
Yeah, you can just sit down in one afternoon and get the entire experience.
Was that really one of your goals or one of your ideas? Was that in there? Let's make a short game?
I don't know that we talked about it, but short game equal less work for me. Yes. If you had a choice at work, can I just work 2 hours today or 8 hours? Go for the 2 hours.
We got to make shorter magazines.
Yeah.
No.
Oh wait, it can't be much shorter, can it? Yeah.
No, but that's something. In terms of adult themes, one of the major adult themes I wanted to address was that, adults are busy people that don't have 20 hours to play Portal. So try and get them in and out in 4 hours and give them a nice, satisfying experience.
And honestly, the length, it wasn't that premeditated. It sort of came out, we have this, playtesting policy where we, have people sit down and play our game every week, and we watch them play from beginning to end. And we found that, using these playtests to tune our game, we just found that was sort of the sweet spot where people, sort of got a good crescendo with the plot and they felt like they were very confident, using the gameplay at the end of the game. And we just felt it was a good place to leave off rather than putting in a whole bunch of filler.
Didn't you have another section of the game that you cut? I'm kind of remembering from Sean's postmortem with you guys that you ended up leaving on the cutting room floor?
Yeah, we had a couple rooms. Initially, we wanted the escape sequence to be a little bit earlier, and then we were going to actually have you go back into the test chambers and then, escape again. And, for pacing purposes, it wasn't really that great. Mm-hmm. And we just sort of cut the levels because we didn't really find that the gameplay was that great. So we were like, all right, we could try and polish this, but, we'd much rather work on our boss battle. So we went to that.
I want to go back a second to when you launched the game, because I heard you had Mr. Rube Goldberg help you actually put the game on Steam. I don't know if that makes sense, but you had some contraption.
Oh, yeah.
Levers.
I don't know the buttons and switches and stuff.
It was crazy, yeah. It was somebody built a giant control panel.
Chris Green.
Oh, Chris Green built it?
I thought Chris Green and Chris Grinstead together.
Okay, so anyway, some people at Valve built a giant control panel, and because we launched stuff on Steam, there was, it uses the 3-key unlocking thing, and at midnight on that night, the entire company was there, and Gabe or Kim and Robin and Charlie.
Yeah, me and Spyrer and I think Robin.
Yeah. Anyway, it was awesome. There was dry ice coming out of the thing. It was just like a rocket launch, and they turned the 3 keys and hit the button and actually sent the game live.
I heard this really weird Freemasonry version of it where Kim, you're called up there and you go you pull a lever representative of Portal, and then Robin or someone comes up.
Oh, is that what it was?
Each lever was like representative of each of the games.
There were so many people there, I couldn't actually see over the heads to see entirely.
But didn't it also have this element where the dry ice would do something that would set something else in motion, and when the third lever was pulled, the way that it worked out is that it basically ended up flipping the switch and uploading the game to... I'm telling you how it worked. This is what I say.
So the game actually went up when Gabe hit the big red button. We always had this joke around the office that we need to launch our games with the big red button.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it all came about. But yeah, each one of the switches did something else. Like, they think one of the keys turned on the dry ice, and then another turned on strobe lights and just a bunch of other.
No one taped
stuff.
this.
No, I think it got taped. Totally got taped.
The tape exists. The box, the elaborate box, was a new thing, but everybody gathering together to hit the button to launch it on Steam is a Valve tradition. I mean, for Episode 1, they did a Day of Defeat. It probably dates back to Half-Life 2. I'm assuming.
It wasn't nearly as dramatic. We kind of gathered in somebody's room while they pressed the enter key.
Yeah. But no, this time it was dramatic,
yes.
And next time it'll be
Ryan,
super duper dramatic.
Ryan the cynic wants to know that you didn't eat cake at that moment, right? Hit him up, Ryan. Hit him up.
We actually, I don't think we had cake at that
We had no cake. We were way ahead of the curve on being sick of the cake jokes by then.
That was Ryan's question for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's...
Though we have been sent several cakes.
Oh,
since the game came out.
So that's made come full circle, and now been the backlash. I don't know what level we're at, but somebody brought the other day a companion cube cake into Valve. This was just last week.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful. I mean, a beautiful,
it was,
beautiful
professionally
cake.
done, made it with fondant
it was
and
fondant, and they were in their whites, and I was, I'm super excited, and they're like, oh, we love the game, and. I'm kind of like, oh, well, whatever. Just give me my cake. But then...
You're so great.
Yeah, I was so blasé. But then one of the guys is like, I'm like, I like cakes. I like watching this show on the Food Network called Ace of Cakes. And he's like, I'm on that show. And all of a sudden, it was like this total role reversal. I was like, I can't believe you're on Ace of Cakes. Oh, my God. Shake my hand again. Take my picture at the Ace of Cakes. It's an awesome cake, though.
Were there any razor blades in?
No.
They had some PVC pipes that'll hold it up.
Yeah,
that was cheating.
Yeah, they. No, there was no PVC in it, was there?
No, there was I think there was supposed to be I could have sworn there was a plastic thing that sort of helped support the inside.
It was just 50 Twinkies in a box.
Yeah,
painted.
It wasn't that good. Yeah, that was the first thing my wife said was that. So somebody came off the street and dropped off a cake, and you guys just ate it.
And then we all died the next day.
Is this so common that Valve needs to employ a royal taster, guinea pig?
We should have something like that. There was one other group brought in a cake, a companion cube cake, and they weren't professionals. It was almost as good as the professional one. It was a little bit lopsided, but it was awesome.
So critical.
PVC.
You guys had a ton of time to make the game, and traditionally, from what I understand, the way that Valve's design process works, you're able to iterate and tweak and whatnot. But when all was said and done, is there anything that you regretted about the game, or really just wished you had been able to do?
No, I'm pretty satisfied with.
Yeah, it'd be pretty much sour grapes at this point to complain too much. If I had one thing, when you take the cameras off the wall and she reacts to that, if we had a little bit more, if I had one absolute wish, it would be to put more of that sort of interactive responses to things that you do in the world in there.
With GLaDOS, things that you could do to piss her off.
Yeah, things that you could do to make her a little bit more angry. But other than that, I think it.
Every of your most precious gags got in there?
Some of them didn't make it in there, but usually they were only precious because I liked them, and the reason they didn't make them in because they were bad.
Or we didn't have any time.
Or we were
I know
running
you made
out
a
of
couple
time.
of them sort of at the last minute. I'm like, are you kidding
Here,
me?
I have a gag. Oh, that's my biggest regret. No, I do have a huge regret. Yeah, I'm actually still kind of mad about this.
You should have come a month or two earlier and told me.
I didn't notice this till the very last week, but there's a chamber where you go in and there's this I don't know the exact word. She says something about it being a testing course for military androids or something, and it really was supposed to be a level. I mean, in my head, in the world of my imagination, that's actually what it was. But the signage was still people, right? It was still people in there, and I didn't notice that till like a week before. And I had the perfect solution, which is take the round part off the people head and put a square head on it, and it'll make it seem like it's an Android. But apparently, there's too much to do.
Yeah. Hey, I told you you wanted to open up Photoshop and get it done, and then re-export the model.
We'll talk about it again when you ruin our next game.
Oh, okay.
That's like 3 Game of the Year awards you cost.
Yeah.
Did you guys? This has probably been asked before, but did you guys have any inkling that Portal was going to be kind of the standout game of that trinity?
Not really,
no, I mean it's not even like just modesty. You look at it and think it's pretty good. I mean, I remember when Sean came to play it the first time. You were like one of the first people to play it, and I'm like, man, this could go really poorly.
That was so interesting because I was just playing it. I was either taking a break or I just finished or something. And I mean, of course, you're not going to ask me,
right? I know
what
enough not to be like.
But it was like so weird. You're just, here's a guy just going around, and I was like, wow, like that guy made one of the coolest things I've ever played.
Yeah,
but I can't talk to you about it.
Sean came back from that visit, and he was telling us about it, and I think we were like everybody else in that. The other games in the Orange Box were just so much more high profile. And Sean was like, you guys have to see Portal.
I was like
texting, what is that? Is that a tech demo? We didn't even know.
On my break, I was like texting Ryan O'Donnell from the One Up Show, and it was just like, oh shit, son, you don't even know. Because he was like, he's a big fan of like episode, the Half-Life series and stuff as well, and Valve stuff. As a writer, I'm kind of curious if you stockpile material that this is like kind of like Orphan, that you're just looking for the right home for it, the right game for it.
Yeah, every day. So I walk to work every day. I make sure I take like an hour and a half, and I think about stuff, and I spend like the first half hour of the day just sort of transcribing things into a big note file, and then I'm always like looking through the note file to try and pull out words and phrases that I can like put somewhere else. Or if I'm reading something, I just constantly cutting and pasting stuff whenever I read something that might someday be able to be useful somewhere. I've just got this giant like 4 or 5. It dates back to Psychonauts now. It's like a 6-year-old giant text file, and every time I use something, I delete it out. And
then sometimes you're sitting down for a project like Portal, and all of a sudden you're like, I've been sitting on this thing for 3 years. It's gonna.
Yes, like years ago, I found this. I think it was when I was working on Psychonauts. For some reason, I stuck it in the note file. It was a declassified government interrogation manual that I just thought had a lot of neat phraseology in it, the way that they talked about things. And boom, I was totally eventually able to pull it out. And in the companion cube level has some actual like stuff I lifted directly from that. Something about becoming. I don't even know what it is. Something about becoming attached to inanimate objects or prolonged
exposure to the companion cube.
Something like that. Anyway, so that came right out of that like morgue file that I keep. It's super duper helpful.
Cool.
Do you know that the companion cube showed up in World of Warcraft recently?
I did. I saw that.
We saw that.
That's
that
like
really
the greatest honor, that you can have. That was awesome.
Is it, or does that make World of Warcraft where jokes go to die?
Oh my God!
It's like now World of Warcraft's like the YTMND of MMOs.
It's a lolcat.
Yeah,
but it
was
a
big lolcat.
Yeah, but it was just a little thing. It wasn't like they just sort of
they just decorated a corner.
Homage.
Yeah, homage, brief. Don't they take it down? Did they take it down?
It was for Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Just put hearts on the crates.
I was wondering, didn't the original team besides Erik for Portal came from all DigiPen students, right?
Yep.
Did Portal start as a project for the GDC Independent Games Festival?
So initially it started out, we were all students at DigiPen, and for our senior year project we created a game called Narbacular Drop, which is the predecessor to Portal essentially. And how we got hired on was, every year DigiPen has an expo where they bring in a bunch of game developers to take a look at students' projects, and Valve came by and saw our game and invited us to come in to the studio and show it to Gabe, and he literally hired us on the spot after we demoed the game.
God.
And I
It's like
thought
hitting
he was
a grand
kidding.
slam first time out of the gate there. I mean,
Yeah, it was pretty weird. I
Gabe's like the Willy Wonka of gaming.
we'll have to tell him that.
He invited you to the glass
Personally invited.
elevator.
Yeah, he's like, hey Charlie, all these other guys want in here, but you're coming in. So what's it like now that your first retail game, right, is winning all these awards and is being, like, I mean, just universally well received?
Well, it's amazing, really. I mean, you don't really focus on thinking about, are we going to win awards? Or it's more, here's this baby that we were working on for a long time, and I hope people like it. Man, I really hope people like it. Otherwise, that'd be really depressing. But I mean, honestly, just during the development, we really wanted to focus on our players and make sure that they were having a great time playing the game. So I guess it paid off.
Have you guys checked out any of the student and indie games at GDC this year, like at the Indie Games Festival?
Erik has. I wanted to after I've been on sort of the interview circuit this morning, but as soon as that's over, I was gonna go check it out and then take a nap.
Yeah, a bunch of them I'd seen before. I'm in the beta for World of Goo, and that game is really cool. Have you guys played around with that at all?
I've just seen it.
Fez is really neat, and
too.
those are the two I've actually had hands-on time with.
Yeah.
And Audio Surf is on Steam now, but that was really fun.
Yeah,
what's the most ridiculous thing you've played on there? Like, most ridiculous sound file
on
Audio Surf?
Oh, I played the. In Portal, there's this anger sphere that is Mike Patton just going like that. That's actually cut from a 3-minute demo that he did for Left 4 Dead game sound. So that was actually the zombie noises. So I played the zombie noises. And it was a mess.
Yeah, but it seemed like there was a lot of good stuff this year. Like I'd gone for a few years in a row, and this year seems particularly excellent for small time games. It's kind of amazing. Like you just popped up this
Professor Winterbottom.
Yeah, Professor. No, it's PB Winterbottom.
PB Winterbottom.
Professor.
Yeah,
you see
I
that
saw
one?
Is that a game?
a video of that. It's
it was
pretty
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
It's this like 2D sort of time dependent platform.
Right, you're sort of like in this black and white like silent movie sort of world, but the gameplay conceit is that you can film yourself and then stop time, and then use that film version of yourself to do, they're like time puzzles. How could I be in two places at once, sort of stuff. Yeah.
What are you guys playing right now?
Mine's going to go on for 15 minutes.
Yeah, okay, so I'll answer first. I haven't had a lot of time to really sit down and play like a console game or a PC game, so I've been mostly doing 10-minute bursts of like the new it's not Phoenix Wright, it's Apollo Justice game on the DS.
Those games are awesome.
Yes,
you made Ryan happy.
And then now the Disney
I'm super duper addicted to Patapon for like the last 4 days. Like I'm just tired. You can hear it in my voice, but as soon as we're done here, I'm going back to the hotel and play more Patapon.
What's the deal with it? I keep hearing about Patapon.
It's like when I saw it advertised, I thought it was sort of like the art style was the gimmick, and it was going to be sort of this cute, quirky Japanese game that wouldn't be that interesting. But it's got this crazy like rhythm strategy RPG element to it. The rhythm is the actual little battles, but there's sort of some tactics to the battles, and then in between there's this whole item collection and army building mechanic. It's kind of like, if you played Monster Hunter ever on the PSP, anyway, there's a little bit of that too, where there's a lot of different battles you can go into, and you can keep re-entering them to get more resources, and then you combine the resources into different equipment and different guys for your army. It's totally hits that sweet spot of like that kind of OCD collecting, but it's also really charming and has a neat rhythm mechanic.
Isn't it the guys that made
Loco Roco?
Looks like
Is it? I don't know. I think it's a company called Pyramid. Did they make
really?
Loco Roco?
I assumed it did just because of the art style.
Yeah, it's similar, but
it was for PSP.
So. Yeah. Not sure about that.
I'll go check it out.
Is that out already, or are you playing it early?
Is.
Okay.
Yeah, supposedly it's only $20 too.
Wow. Is it one of those like download from the PS3 and put it on your PSP
it might be.
thing?
I don't have a
retail,
PS3.
too.
Oh,
yeah, I think it's
I've
retail.
seen it in stores.
Which game, Erik, that came out this past year impressed you the most that used narrative in some capacity?
Honestly, and it gets a lot of it's getting a lot of press, but it doesn't seem like it gets a lot of press for its story. I thought Call of Duty 4 was really awesome. I mean, I felt it did a lot of like hardcore military storytelling that in a way that was interesting to me, that I like in Splinter Cell or most military games, I can't, button through the cutscenes fast enough, but just virtually every part of Call of Duty 4 worked for me. The story had a lot of like interesting twists, and it had that opening train ride scene, which I thought was it wasn't actually a train ride, but which I thought just ended with this just awesome moment. Spoilery, but you're waiting to kind of get saved or something to happen. It's just like this weird, grim, jaw-dropping moment. So yeah, from beginning to end, I thought Call of Duty 4 was excellent. Another short game that was a lot of people who played it were able to just finish.
There's still these weird reactions from people about like the whole game length issue and stuff, and I don't know if it's just it's a set of people that they've grown up playing games with certain expectations their whole life, and it's very difficult for them to get around it. It's like you got to wait for the next generation. So an example would be, the way that death works in games, the fact that we even have it, and sometimes, like these fail states are basically remnants of, quarter eating, things like that, or the way that save points work and just how long games should be, all these expectations about what make a game, and they're I don't know. I mean, a lot of them aren't really perfectly suited for the medium, in my opinion, now, but
it's not like
agree.
The weird thing is people bitch about it, but it's not like Portal was a $50 game.
Well, we did get hate mail. I mean, I'm still getting it in my inbox for
we're
giving.
sorry.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Your fault.
Make your game longer next time for me. No, but because people saying that it somehow wasn't worthy.
And the hyperbole, because those letters are like,
enough.
You gave the award to a 15-minute tech demo. It's like, it's 15 minutes now.
Yeah, well, that is the thing.
Well, you're a fucking savant.
Again,
sorry.
I don't want to be sour grapes, but yeah, the number does keep going. I finished it, and there are literally like YouTube videos of guys somehow finishing it in like
3 minutes.
Yeah, like
right,
3 minutes or something.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was those guys actually wrung like 150 hours of pleasure out of Portal.
Right. But you can track that. And
in Steam we actually know. I mean, it's something like 3.5 hours or 4 hours.
Between like 3 and 4 hours.
That's the average.
Yeah.
What was yours, Jeff?
Shut up.
That's still longer than
I
any
left it
movie
on
I'd
overnight.
watch.
Right.
That's the problem. And I'm forever saddled with this 13-hour thing because I left it on.
It's just ridiculous.
I just remember walking into your office and you're sitting there staring at the screen and you're like, how do I do it?
It's just not true. It's not.
Well, something worked. You got Ryan to play it, and he's like first-person phobic. It's just the point of view, right?
It is. Yeah, like I kind of have to be able to see myself. Mm-hmm. But like, with Portal, it's like I couldn't. It wouldn't work that way. Yeah, you absolutely could not have that.
You got through. The most vertiginous game in the genre, and you didn't get sick either.
It's so true.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did? You made it all the way through the end?
I mean, I don't get sick. First-person games don't make me nauseous or anything. It's just I have this weird like mental block where like I just have to see my character. Like
where am I?
To see around me.
Was there
You're playing Team Fortress 2 now too, though?
Team Fortress 2 is...
Wow.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
just become a Valve
Maybe you've
hoe.
gotten over it.
It's your fault.
Maybe. Well, Portal's like a different kind of game, though. It's like I'm not constantly having to look around me. I can...
I wish that everyone who was listening could have seen the motion.
We needed a video of that.
Intense paranoia.
But I like, Portal's chill. I can take my time.
What about
play at my own pace.
What about those fantastic, like mini movies for Team Fortress 2? Are those going anywhere? Is that pretty much it? Just to...
I mean, they're not going anywhere other than they're going to finish up, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I mean, there's definitely nothing announced as far as what would happen next. But we are going to finish them. There's been a little break.
Were you involved in writing those?
Yeah. It was that again. It was so I would sort of like write a script, but most of the good parts are where the animators would take some crappy line. They'd be like, well, let's put a bird, back here doing something crazy, and they would find some way to frame it to actually make. And that's one of the super depressing things just about working on games for a writer too. Like even if you write good stuff, the animators are always way funnier than you are. Like you'll put something in there, and it was the same way at Double Fine. You'd be like, this is some quality material, and everybody would be like, eh. And then the animators would go to it, and that's when it actually works, when the animators put their magic on it.
Yeah.
And same with the TF shorts.
Well, there were some laugh out loud parts of Portal that were just strictly voiceover. So you're able to take credit for that.
Animators probably wrote those.
I'm curious, in the writing of Portal, was there a point where it had to be, because you said it started as a student project, so did story and stuff get retrofitted into the Half-Life universe? Like, how did that part work? In which,
I think honestly, originally it was.
So when we started, we'd gotten an offer like, would you like to place Portal in the Half-Life universe? We're like, yeah, are you kidding? So like that was like pretty much from the outset, and the game was actually sort of kind of without a story for maybe 2 or 3 months, and through our playtest, we actually found that the game was kind of dry. Like, people, enjoyed themselves for about 15 to 30 minutes, and then they were like, okay, I'm done. And, we needed a story to kind of drive players forward, so that's when Erik came in.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, in the beginning, it was sort of a quasi-marketing decision because they weren't sure exactly how they were going to market Portal, and since at that point, they were still, and even in the end, we were using Half-Life art assets, and even it looks like it's in the Half-Life universe, so it just made sense to put some tie in there. And as it sort of started to get its own identity, we worried less about we don't have to have the G-Man pop in at any point, and we kind of made it just the more subtle Aperture Science with a few Black Mesa references and some references to the Combine and stuff like that. And that was cool.
It actually kind of made it more mysterious, I thought. It took on this kind of lost sort of aspect to me. Like, does it really fit in? How does it fit in?
Yeah.
Is there some other timeline in the Half-Life universe?
Some of it, though, yeah. Some of that's just slop on my part, because it actually should be clear to you that it does. Yeah, I haven't done my job right. It does take place in the Half-Life universe. But, yeah. I was trying to answer as many questions as possible. That's I know a lot of people are like, we want to ask more questions than give answers. If I had my way, the game would give you every answer you ever needed about anything. I mean, that would be
in life,
right?
It comes with like an
100% answers, all answers. I mean, if you had a choice between the game, I'm asking a lot of questions. Your game, like all your answers are here. I picked the all your answers game because.
Do you have all the answers and you're just not telling us?
I do not. And I, like most people, have a lot more questions than answers. But again, I strive to give you answers.
You should have just said yes. We would have believed you.
You might have asked me to.
I've heard Kim and Jeep's answer for what the pulse rifle alt-fire energy orbs are doing inside the Aperture Science facility, but I want to hear your...
Oh, mine is, I'm taking mine straight from Jeep's, which is that's in the Half-Life universe, that is just the form energy takes, is those balls.
You've got this all worked out.
Yeah.
Bulletproof.
Yeah.
Immediately, go on.
No, I was just going to say yeah.
That's like
times.
That's like the Half-Life universe equivalent of like a socket in the wall.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. That's what happens.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Immediately after the game came out, everyone was sort of speculating on all the hints in the game and whatnot from the keyboards with the marked letters and this and that. Has that died down any?
Yeah, I think it's died down. I mean, it was kind of and now some people are.
We still get emails.
Yeah, we get a lot. We still get emails from people playing it the first time. Most of the people who would be sort of inclined to obsess over that were,
nerds.
No, not well. Yeah, maybe that too, just like us. But
nerds play early.
Yeah, they played early. They were early adopters.
All right. Now Lost is back on, so they're.
Yeah, people can go back to Lost. But yeah, most of what we get now is just I played the game and it was awesome, and people have some questions like that about where does it fit in the timeline and stuff like that. Which there are clues in there. You should be able to find out where it fits in the timeline.
I guess I'll play it again.
Yeah.
Another 13 hours.
Are you privy to the grand story plan? Like, do you know where this is all going, or are you totally left in the dark?
Of Portal or
like the Half-Life universe? Yeah.
I have. Yes, I am in possession of some Half-Life secrets. I have
Did
seen
you
the
work
story
with
Bible.
Mark Laidlaw on the episode 2 story?
Yeah, we sit in the same room. Me and Chet, who you guys know, and Chet Falsek, and Mark. Well, we don't actually sit in the same room currently, but we were sitting in the same room during all the production of the Orange Box, and so there was just a lot of talk back and forth, and we would write some stuff, or Mark would run something by us, but mostly it was Mark doing it, and then Chet would fill in a lot of the sort of background dialogue, and I did a little bit of that too.
So if your mentality is to want to provide the answers, especially in the end, are you satisfied that the series is going to be able to do that?
Half-Life?
Yeah.
I think that it will provide. I think that maybe Mark's less committed to. If I'm 100% total adrenaline focused on giving answers, Mark is more sophisticated than I am and not as interested in that. But I believe that you will get some satisfying answers. Yes, the ones that I've seen are satisfying.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I know you're trying to trick me into giving it all. G-Man is Gordon from the future or whatever. Oh. Damn.
Edit that out.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever discussed the notion of a direct sequel to Portal?
We definitely talk about it. We haven't really settled on anything at the moment. And definitely, I don't think we've announced anything that's been announced.
I know Doug said something about there being a Portal 2 sort of in the future.
Oh, did he?
At the EA shareholders.
Yeah, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that there will be a Portal 2. It's just we're still kind of hammering out the details.
Are both of you interested in doing that? It seems like it would be an obvious yes, but at the same time, it's kind of like, maybe you want to work on something else.
Well, I'm actually working on Left 4 Dead right now.
Oh, okay.
So that's I just moved all of my stuff to where everybody's situated, like right before GDC. So I haven't really done much of anything other than move my stuff and plug in my computer. But whenever I get back from GDC, so it'll be interesting.
And since these guys, what they do, the level designers and animators and artists, is a lot more time-consuming. So the writers kind of spread between all the projects. So I'll probably touch everything to some degree.
Did you have more story in mind at the time you finished writing for Portal?
In terms of what might happen next, yeah. But in terms of what actually I thought would be good to put in Portal 1, no. I was fully satisfied that we told a nice, simple story and had a beginning, middle, and end, and it just felt right, to me.
Well, since we got into the writing part and what Erik does or has done with Portal, we haven't really talked about what Kim does in the game or did, and about the process by which all of these puzzles and levels were designed. I think Valve has some sort of insane machine of play testers, like 1,000 people that they pass everything through like a sifter.
It's more like random people that we find in the street. It's like, hey, do you have a couple hours to come and play a game, or getting our family members to come in, or people around the office that hadn't seen the game yet, and we basically just sit a playtester down, once a week, like on Friday, and have them play through the game, which really, really helps us refine, our gameplay and our story as well. Just watching players, we think we have good ideas and make good decisions, but you really don't know until you see someone actually play through the game, and then you can quickly realize, oh, perhaps that wasn't such a good idea. Let's reconsider that. So, and to ask your previous question, I was a level designer in Portal, and so basically I was the one sitting in Hammer, sort of mocking up all the levels, and I handled the lighting, sort of those weird areas behind the scenes where there was a crazy guy scribbling on the wall. That was me being bored one afternoon. So, I'm glad people appreciate my boredom. So I did a lot of just sort of random textures and building our maps.
Yeah. Is it difficult to learn from people's playthroughs? Like you might watch someone try a level or a puzzle that you've set out, but when they fail at it or are frustrated by it, is it always obvious what the problem is, or does it take a lot of detective work to figure out what you have to do to be able to make that more understandable or accessible?
Usually it's pretty straightforward and obvious. Like, if somebody isn't going to a particular section of the map that we really want them to, one of the first things that we need to look at is, okay, our lighting is probably wrong in this room, so we need to try and figure out how to bring players' attention to a particular area. And there's a lot of little artist tricks here and there, like, through the geometry and through lighting to direct players' eyes to a particular area. As far as, like, just sort of gameplay tuning and fixing, most of that's pretty obvious to us. Like, little things like, okay, the timer on this door when they press the button is far too short, so we need to, lengthen that a couple seconds. Then we have someone play test it again, can see, okay, yeah, that was just about right. So it's actually just incredibly valuable to sit someone down and have them play. It's pretty amazing how beneficial it is.
Are you ever able to have any fun with the game after having to go through such a rigorous process?
I don't know.
Eric is shaking his head like, no, like a
Eric
Vietnam
wants
vet,
to
like
kill
thinking
himself.
I got the 1,000-year Portal stare. I hate you, Portal. But so yeah, the lesson for kids is make a multiplayer game, because Team Fortress is what never was not fun.
Right.
Like when it was we did the final crunch push to get the 360 version out, and so everybody had to play. Was there like 24 hours a day playing all the games in the orange box, and the lucky people were the people that got to play Team Fortress because it was fun. They're having a great time, and you're like playing episode 2. Sick of throwing stuff at Alex, just like TVs. React! Shut up!
Oh no!
But Kim, you said you're still able to turn on Portal and have a good time?
Yeah. I mean, there definitely was a time there when we had to play the game, like, I don't know, like several hundred times when we were getting ready to ship to try and find all the little last minute bugs we had to fix that definitely I kind of wanted to jump off the roof. But now actually when I turn on the game, now that there's been enough time between like actually shipping the game and now I still have fun, like just turning it on and having 2 portals on the ground and then just dropping a box in and just watching it pop back and forth. Like, that's still amusing to me. I don't know, maybe I'm just easily amused.
So does Valve not have a dedicated QA team? I mean, do you? Is it all of you are basically looking for bugs?
Pretty much. When we ship, sort of Valve's policy is, because we're the ones that made the game, we're going to know the game the best. So having us run through it is pretty good for catching things that we don't think is quite right. Not to mention, because we are the developers, we have a good idea of how to fix it too as well, and a good method to track down the problem.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of knowing the game, but then there's also this knowing who is going to be able to fix this problem that you found, or what the problem might actually be. Like knowing a little bit of the solution, informs the question that you're going to need to ask to somebody to get them to fix it.
We've got one guy that works at Valve as a dedicated tester. So.
Is he insane? Is he like the craziest person there? Like you walk into his cubicle and he's like,
yeah.
He's actually a really nice, laid-back guy, believe it or not.
I've never talked to him.
Really?
No,
I don't talk to testers.
Wow, we just got a silence. Oh,
yeah,
we
what
have to go?
I'm sorry.
No,
about that.
I'll point at you.
We got about 5 minutes though.
Oh, we have 5 minutes.
Hey, I got a random question for Erik. This is a little out of the blue and not related to Portal, but so you have some kind of beef with former Sierra designer Roberta Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually have a beef. A beef would imply like she has some knowledge of what that. Yeah, I don't think she's blissfully unaware of it. And actually, kind of age and distance from the last King's Quest game is kind of muted it.
Muted the beef?
Yeah.
What was the beef?
I don't think it was. I think it was just an Old Man Murray article where I was, oh, no, I know what it was. That's right. Yeah, I wish I had the quote in front of me. She just said, it was one of those classic pompous, people don't play adventure games anymore because stupid people started buying, like a different class of people started buying computers. Yeah, I remember that was one of the few times at Old Man Murray where I wasn't pretending to be. I was really, that sort of crazy elitist, just
yeah,
kookery.
Jeff knows that
Oh, I
mad.
totally remember that quote. I do. I was just as mad.
But
gaming
also
was so
even
much
with
better
the
before the
history of
rabble showed up.
being an editor-in-chief at Computer Gaming World, and is the various, I mean, from the Johnny Wilson days, and I mean, just the whole transition from, just the old grognard tradition.
Well, sure. I mean, that was like the
PC
first time that Elliot Chin, who was an editor I worked with, who's now at Sega, the first time he and I were ever playing Warcraft 2 multiplayer at Computer Gaming World, and 2 of the older editors came by. I shouldn't say older, they were my age, but, whatever, were standing behind us, and they had sort of a more old-school mentality, a turn-based mentality, and they were standing behind us while we were playing Warcraft 2, laughing at us, at us, and saying, like, well, so whoever clicks the fastest wins. Here it's like, oh, God, you sit down and play, and we'll see what happens. You actually need strategy to win. But so, yeah, I totally remember that Roberta Williams quote because that was so frustrating because it's like, actually, maybe they're not buying your games because your games are kind of shit.
Right,
now.
exactly. I mean, that's classic thing learned from playtesting is it's your fault. When people don't like your game, it's your fault. It's not their fault. It's your fault.
I mean, you're in an entertainment industry.
Yeah, people aren't buying. Although, crazily, adventure games seem to be making a comeback now. Like almost like classic. I think it's part of the whole, the groundswell of this sort of grassroots indie game making thing, and it's a style of game that's actually relatively easy for a few people to make. But some big stuff like those Sam & Max games seem to be popular, and those are pretty much like straight-ahead adventure games.
I
right?
felt like that the Half-Life games themselves are a form of adventure game in a way. I mean that they're so puzzle-based as opposed to most other first-person shooters that often I find myself having to think logically in the way that I used to with adventure games.
Well, but the thing with adventure games was that it wasn't about thinking logically, right?
Right.
Well, that's
actual physics in Half-Life.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. It was just here's some random objects and what insane thing could you potentially
and the hair and the honey pot.
Yeah, the honey pot and the dog hair.
Oh, the dog, the cat.
The cat hair.
Cat hair, mustache.
Right.
This is like the classic horrible puzzle.
What's
right?
the shittiest adventure
Didn't you have a
game
screen
puzzle?
about that?
It's the cat hair. I mean, I
That's
didn't
the
play.
worst
I
puzzle of all
didn't
time.
play a lot of, but that one I had to play because I was reviewing it for some reason GameSpot had me review it, which I think we're far enough, and GameSpot's been discredited enough now that I can say this. But I don't know, maybe is this 10 years ago now? But I mean, I'm the last person in the world who should have been reviewing the new Gabriel Knight adventure. But I mean, I gave it a shot, and I was like, I'll try it, and it was that friggin', and I had to play it because I was reviewing it. I had to play the whole game, and that cat puzzle. Oh, that
Worst puzzle of all time.
What was the
Break
deal?
it down again for
You had to rent a motorcycle. I may be getting some of the insane details wrong here, but you had to rent a motorcycle, right? And to do it, you had to disguise yourself as this other guy. And I don't remember why you had to disguise yourself as the other guy. But for some reason, you had to put a mustache on, even though the other guy didn't have a mustache. You, drew a mustache onto his thing. And so, the initial thing you might think of is if I had to build a fake mustache, there's hair growing all out of my body. I could just cut some of that hair off and put it on me.
You're not advocating a mustache.
No. I mean, it would have been easier than what ended up happening. You had to. There was a barn with a hole in the bottom, and you had to take a piece of tape, a loop of tape, and put it on the top of the hole, and then chase a cat through the hole, and then there would be cat hair on the tape, and then you'd think that would be enough to apply it to your face, but then you had to use honey to apply the tape and the cat to your face to make a mustache to disguise yourself as a guy who didn't have a mustache to begin with.
To rent a motorcycle.
My father was
to rent a
You're not
motorcycle.
exaggerating.
That is the puzzle.
Yeah.
www.memmary.com, sir.
So for all those people that are in that group that are like, well, adventure games, at least we had to think when we played our games. That's the truth right there. Fuck you guys.
No, I'm not gonna. If you like it, if you like that sort of thing, more power to you. But it drove me nuts. That part of the fuel for some of that Old Man Murray stuff was always just because I would have to finish some of these games, and it was killing me. I mean, there's just games I would never finish if I wasn't getting paid to play them.
My dad used to make fake mustaches for a living, and that's actually how they do it.
Is that a joke? Yeah.
Wait, how did you come up with the Old Man Murray I forget what it's called, the crate time to crate index review system or whatever.
Oh, I don't. I mean, that was one that just I don't remember exactly what the.
How'd you come up with that joke?
Yeah.
No, but
I don't.
But there's something about that I think is still like ridiculous and amazing today. And I wish there was like a statistical website that kept track of the data of like how long it took from the beginning of a game to get to an ammo crate.
You guys
or
are in the
barrel.
position to do it because you play every
Even
game.
more so is the shipping containers. I mean, Valve's as guilty as anyone.
Oh no, I mean, everybody does
the big enormous ones like from the docks. I mean, that's because it's a great way to build a level, right? It's got
it's a
big
square.
rectangle.
Yeah,
it works like Legos.
Yeah, I
Drop
mean, now
them
that
down.
I'm on the design side, I'm all for crate it up. Crates if you need.
To finish on the mustache thing,
yeah,
I
that's all. Put some crates in there and go home, ladies.
To finish on the mustache thing, I got to ask: did either of you see Jackass the movie 2?
I did.
Okay, so you know where I'm going.
No, actually, I don't.
Well, they told it was like the funniest thing in that movie. They told like one of their friends who's ended up being the patsy that they had this gag and that they were going to basically have him pose as a cab driver and that they were going to take and mess with someone. But the gag was ultimately on him. But even before they got to the real gag, they started it off by shaving their pubes and then putting the shavings in a Hollywood movie magic kit. And then when they set him up with the full beard and a full mustache, it was what you thought. And then they ended up reversing that.
Actually,
skit, of course.
speaking of that though, I heard Johnny Knoxville almost entirely severed his penis.
What?
Just recently?
Yeah, just recently.
Oh wow.
That took a lot longer than I would have imagined.
That implies a partial severance then.
Yeah, I mean it's like not gone.
Not a full body
reattached
cut.
it. I don't know exactly what happened. He was doing some sort of Evel Knievel motorcycle stunt, and it just I think it's on YouTube.
He was
So
trying to
that's
jump
like,
over 15 Lorena Bobbitt's.
Yeah.
So like Harry Potter has the nearly headless Nick. He's like nearly penisless.
Yeah. Johnny
Why
Knoxville.
did we do this, man? I feel guilty.
Why?
Yeah.
I feel bad.
You started it.
When I
You brought up Jackass.
Entirely Sean Elliott's fault.
Thank you,
I'm
Game
just
of the
saying
Year
this for-
winners.
Yeah.
There's really nowhere to go from there.
that was it. Thank you, Game of the Year winners.
And as your prize, we're going to give you a free set of beards.
Because I'm aware of the fact that Johnny Knoxville's penis got cut off, and that like invalidates everything we did on Portal. I didn't cut it off. I just know about it.
You just read In Touch.
I'm blaming Sean here.
I think I heard it on the radio. I couldn't even stop listening to it. It's not like I chose to find out about it.
I'll give you my email. We could talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we're out. Thank you, Erik and Kim.
Thanks.
No problem.
Bye.
Thanks.